Oh. Look at that, 20 meters, dude. So for the Bryson 800, what is the best way to run it? I have two builds for you. If you're aggressive and you like to W key, I got you. If you want to play slower, a little bit more tactical, I got you. Let's talk about it. So to run shotgun successfully, you need to think about a couple things and try not to be too split, especially with the tuning on these guns, to make sure that you're not dividing things so that you have not enough damage at range, also not enough ADS speed to compete, and these different things. So I have two builds for you. I have one for those of you that are more aggressive and you want that fast ADS, the maximum movement possible, while still giving you a good kill potential. And then I also have one that is going to be able to long shot, one shot, but also be able to hip fire at very far distances as well. So if you're one of those people who wants to walk and hold your ADS up when you're rounding corners and all of that, you might like this other gun. If you're somebody who's jumping corners, dropping down, you know, trying to play with the map to get closer to people, you're gonna like the other one. So this is the first build we're gonna go over. This is the Bryson 800 as a long shot, one shot. This is more of an all-around build that is focusing on not so much the quick ADS. We are trying to get damage at range while slight focus on hip fire, because the gun already hip fires really good. So we're gonna want that tighter spread on the pellets, and we are gonna want the damage at range. So the first thing that we're gonna grab is the 29.5 inch rifled barrel. This is by far the best barrel that you can use. These are pretty mid, especially after using this. Now, I understand that people don't want to use this because they want the faster ADS, but it has what we want. It has the damage range, it has a tighter pellet spread, and it gives us bullet velocity. So we're going to get those quick kills, even though they're a little bit further. And after that, the way that we're going to tune this is we are going to be using the aim walking speed, because recoil steadiness. Now, this is if you are somebody who is shooting over and over and over, it's gonna make the reset of your shotgun slightly small, but it's so negligible, it's so small of a difference that I would way rather have a little bit more walking speed, especially because this build is one that you're gonna be holding that ADS and you're gonna be walking in some situations. I'm not typically one that crouches when I move, but you're gonna be walking in some situations, you're gonna want that aim walking speed. After that, we're not gonna go with aim down sight speed because this isn't that build. You can aim down sight to get those really long shots, but you have to give yourself time for that. So we're gonna go for the damage range on that one. After that, we're gonna go with one of the best muzzle brakes, in my opinion, that you can run, and that is the Bryson improved choke. There's also a Bryson choke. I like the improved choke better because it's gonna give us the damage range. So we have the tighter pellet spread, we have the damage range on this one, and this is going to allow us to get the consistent long shots. 16 meters, 17 meters. I have in the video on here 20 meters, and it's consistent. Now, if you guys like to run something with a suppressor, I would recommend one of these two suppressors, either the SA MX50 or the SA XS. I don't really even know how to say this, Schweigen. I'm probably butchering that, but you can run either one of these and they will be pretty good. This one, the MX50, did give me more range when I was testing it, but they're about the same with consistency. So the difference between the suppressors and the choke, in my opinion, is everything after 13 meters, you start to feel more inconsistent with the suppressors, even though it says you get damage at range. Right here, it says damage range, bullet velocity, sound suppression, recoil smoothness. I noticed that anything over that 13 meter mark, I would get hit markers way more than when I was using this. So I don't mind that it's loud. This is what we're going for. The way that we're going to tune this is we are going to go for the tighter pellet spread. That is what we're going for this. That is very, very important for getting those long range shots. The sprint to fire speed, we don't need because this is not our speed mobility build, right? Aim down sight speed, the exact same thing. We're not going for that. We're going for the damage range. So that's how we're going to be tuning that. After that, we are going to be going with the pineapple foregrip. Now, you can technically run the groove shot. I did try the groove shot. Out of all of these suppressors, I would say that these were my top two for this build, because you want the stability in this to get the long kills, to get the long hip fire, and so forth. The pineapple is better. I just flat out, I've used them both multiple times, back and forth, 3 in a row, 3 in a row. I like the pineapple better. It feels more stable. I'm more consistently getting further kills with hip fire, and I just like it better. The groove shot is still good. This is going to be hip fire accuracy, hip fire recoil control, aim walk steadiness. This is going to be hip fire accuracy, hip fire recoil control, recoil steadiness, and aim walking steadiness. I don't know how much the recoil steadiness is really adding to it. I just know that after using both, you are going to like this one. After that, we are going to tune this, and we are going to go for the hip fire. We're going to go ahead and play on that. We don't need more walking speed. We're going to go for the hip fire because you're going to notice you're going to be able to get, especially with two things that are tightening the spread on these pellets, you're going to be able to get some nice hip fire kills. And then we're going to go with this as well. Hip fire accuracy, staying away from the aim down side speed because of the kind of build it is. After that, we're going to go with the sawed off mod. This is the best. It's the best in other Call of Duties. It's the best in this Call of Duty. This is going to give you mobility. And in this build, having that little bit of an offset for mobility, I know it's not what we're going for, but it feels really good and it doesn't feel shaky. Sometimes in some games when you use a stock like this, the gun just feels like it feels inconsistent, wobbly. There's a massive sway. It's not like that. The shotguns already all have bad sway. So this is really nice. This is going to give us that aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and the hip recoil control, which is very nice. Unfortunately, we can't tune this, so we're gonna leave it as is. Then we're gonna go down here to the Demo X50 Tactical Pump. This is a must-have. I promise, once you use this, you can't go back to taking it off your gun. This is gonna give us the rechambering speed. That extra speed for, especially if you're playing as a solo or you're trying to be more independent and not rely on your team, and you're really getting in there where they're at, and whether you're doing massive flanks or anything else, you're gonna have that rechambering speed to help you to get those multiple kills that maybe you couldn't get before. Crouch movement speed, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't really crouch when I move. And then aim down sight speed, so it's there, it's a plus. You know, it is what it is. Mainly we want the rechambering speed, which this does a really good job as. And then when we tune it, we are going to go for the aim walking steadiness, because you will notice on almost all the shotguns there is a lot of sway when you are walking with the shotgun. Okay, so this makes it definitely better. And then on this one, we're going to go with the sprint to fire speed, because recoil steadiness, I don't really see the main purpose of it. If we're not using something that's full auto, you're not going to notice it as much. So running this shotgun the way that we're running it, it just makes more sense to go with the sprint to fire speed, and then it's going to offset a little bit of the slowness that we have in the gun in other places. With this gun, we're going to go over the full loadout, the full setup, that way you guys know how I run it. So with this one, we're playing a little bit slower, we're playing a little bit more tactical. I just run a handgun as my secondary. You guys can do whatever you want in that regard. When it comes to these, I think personally that the stuns or the flashes work really good, because you throw them in advance and then you kind of like walk into the area, right? So you're not really risking too much of like flashing or stunning yourself. And then if you also want to run a smoke grenade, I typically run this on my aggressive build, but for those long lines of sight that you don't want to get caught in, smoke grenades are really nice for closing in the gap. That way you can get those kills. So it's completely up to you. The last worthy mention is of course a stim, because shotguns are all about mobility. They're all about lots of rotations, lots of mobility, making sure that you're constantly moving and you're using the map to your advantage. That way you can get closer to the people who are running ARs and SMGs and LMGs and snipers and everything else pretty much besides what you're running, which is the shotgun. So stim works really well for being able to get you healed really quick and get you out of a situation that might be a little bit sticky. So between those and the smoke, and then the other two work really well as well. After that, we're going to go with the throwing knife. The reason why I choose throwing knife over anything else is because you get an extra kill when many times you would just die. Maybe you use all 6 of your shells and there's a 7th guy. Maybe, you know, something weird happens where you only had 3 shells left. You're in the middle of reloading. It's a very quick out. It's a very quick way to be like, oh shoot, I have nothing else. And you just throw a knife, you get the kill, you reset, you regroup, and you get back in there. Throwing knives are definitely huge for shotgun builds. The other thing is Phantom. You don't really need anything other than Phantom with a shotgun build. It has everything that you would want. Battle Hardened is really good in this mode, at least. I don't know about how it's going to be on tier 1. Probably not that good. Double time, we want the double duration of the tac sprint. Cold Blooded and Ghost, both perfect for running your shotgun builds and being a little bit more sneaky, using the map to your advantage. And then ammunitions box, or you can run, so if you're trying to level the shotgun, run DDoS for the extra points, but ultimately you're gonna want the ammunitions box. There's many times where I was getting streaks and I was running out of shells and I needed to pick up a different gun and use that. Instead of doing that, if you wanna get your shotgun kills, if you wanna use your shotgun, make sure you have an ammunitions box. That way you can refill and get right back in the fight. Now, this is our aggressive build. This is the build that has the max movement, the mobility, the agility, all these other words that mean movement. This is the build if you guys love the W key and you can still play tactically, thinking about using the environment to your advantage. This build you're gonna love. Shout out to Zay, who is a good friend of mine, who sent me the build and I started messing with it, running it, and I'm just like, dude, this is insane. He's like, yeah, you gotta try this build. You can pretty much run as fast as you can with a knife out. The mobility is crazy. Look at this thing. Look at down here, how much mobility. So I had to try it. So shout out to Zay for putting me on this build, and now I'm putting it onto you guys. So this shotgun right here, the first thing that we're gonna go for is we're gonna go for the smallest barrel. We're gonna go for the 8-inch XRK CQB barrel. This is all we need. We have the aim down sight speed, the movement speed, the wider pellet. Unfortunately, we don't really want the wider pellet. We're gonna compensate for that, and I'll show you in a second. And then we have the recoil control. So this is what we're gonna use on this one to get, now I will say this, you have to realize you only have 3 rounds. 3 shells, okay? So you're not gonna have the 6 to 8 like you would in the longer one. You have to get used to it. It takes time to get used to, especially if you're somebody who counts when you're shooting and you're trying to figure out how many you have left and you're pushing a team. You don't know if you swing and there's 4 people around the corner. So this throwing knife is even more important. How we're gonna tune that is we are gonna go with aim walking speed, because like I said, on shotguns, we don't really need recoil steadiness. And then after that, we're gonna go for the damage range. And that's because we're gonna take all we can get. We wanna get as much range as we can because we're already limited with this build, but you do wanna get as close to people as you can. I'll show you some of the footage that I have running this build, and I run it completely different than the other shotgun build because you literally have to use the map. But you're quick, dude. You are super quick. The other thing that we're gonna go with the Bryson choke again. I already explained why in the other build. It's one of the best, if not the best chokes that you can run in the game. And then we're gonna tune that with tighter pellet spread. Remember that other attachment, the barrel, gave us the wider pellet spread. So we're gonna try to overcompensate on the other end and get tighter pellet spread up here. And then we're gonna go for damage range again. So we're trying to extend that gap. We're trying to get those 5, 6, 7, 8 meters and feel good still running this build. But I will be honest, you will get more hit markers, but if you're aggressive, you'll do really good still. We're gonna go with the sawed off mod because this is gonna give us aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and the hip fire control, which isn't gonna make a whole lot of difference because we're not gonna be hip firing with this. Okay, about that, if you swing a corner and somebody else is swinging at the same time and you're both hitting each other, hip fire. It's right up against them. The other cool thing about it is it doesn't shove your gun because it's so small. So whereas their AR goes to the side or it goes up and it goes out of the way and they have to back up to shoot you, you can go right up against somebody, literally barrel to chest, barrel to stomach. It doesn't matter where. Pull the trigger with that hip fire and get that kill. That is another thing that's really nice about being on people. Don't be afraid with other guns to be right up on people when you are using this build. And that's gonna be it. Ammunition and optic you could add. Every optic that I've added has slowed my ADS. So for this build, I don't think you need it. You're gonna be very close when you're getting the kills. And then with the ammunition, I ran the slugs, I ran the explosives. These aren't good. I haven't run the Dragon's Breath, but still, I don't think that I'm a fan of the slugs either. I think we're just gonna run it as is. That will give us a 3 out of 5. And then for the full class setup, we are going to be running a pistol as my secondary because I usually do. We're gonna be running the throwing knife. The throwing knife is more important than ever because you only have 3 shells in your gun, okay? And smoke. I feel like smoke is way more necessary on this one. The other thing that you can run, like I said before, is you could run stim to get you out of sticky situations, but I'm gonna say smoke. I'm gonna say smoke on this one. You wanna be as close as possible. You wanna make sure that those long lines of sights are covered Obviously, unless somebody has a thermal, most of the time they don't though. You should be able to get up in there. I'll run right into the smoke and get a kill because by the time somebody sees you, you're already on them. Like I said, you can get that kill really easy. The other thing that we're gonna be running on here is Phantom, just like we were before. And then Battle Rage is what I have been liking. You can run Ammunitions Box if you really want to, and you can run Dead Silence. Dead Silence is a very strong. So if you just want to zoom, Battle Rage. If you're trying to be a little bit more sneaky, Dead Silence. Either one on this class is a great choice. All right, guys, I'm going to show you some footage for both builds. We're just doing clips right now, showing you pieces, so that way the gameplay footage isn't too long. Let me know down in the comments if you guys want full gameplay footage from full maps, so you guys can see everything that I'm doing. A little call to action before I send you guys over there. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you smash the like button. It does go a long way for the channel. I would love to catch you guys another time. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and you guys can see more Call of Duty content on multiplayer, on Warzone, and on DMZ. We'll be covering it here, so make sure you don't miss out. Lastly, I would love to catch you guys on Twitch. Come by, hang out. It'll be a good time. Usually we start about 6 p.m. PST. I'd love to see you there. Enjoy the gameplay, and I'll see you soon. Good luck. Oh. Look at that. 20 meters, dude. Not today. No, what? What? Bro, I was about to jump shot him. I needed that. I needed that for footage. Tricked ya. Nope. Why is this guy using gas, bruh? Nope. Nope.
Confirmed one.
Take that. I was wondering where you went. Oh, no, no, no. Still got him, baby. Oh gosh. I hope you guys are blessed. Hope you have an amazing day or night depending on where you're at in the world. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, but before you leave, there's more videos for you. They're over there. Go check them out. Have a good time. Enjoy, and I will catch you guys on the next one. And as always, happy shooting.